Virus is spreading through the city, and survivors are hiding in a bus to escape. Anna is a nurse at a hospital in Milwaukee. At the end of her shift, she tells the doctor about a strange patient who was brought in after a bar fight where he was bitten. Initially, the wound seemed minor, but his condition worsened, and now he's in intensive care. On her way home, the radio reports strange attacks on people, but Anna tunes it out, switching to a music station. Later, she retreats to the bathroom with her husband for some quiet time.
Hello, my friends. I'm Joanne. I'm really sorry for interrupting you, friends. I asked some funny questions in between the video, so think and answer in the comments. And to know the answer, write to me in the comments. I will answer there, and please, subscribe to me. It costs you nothing, but it really helps me a lot. So let my brother Josh continue the story now.
Unaware of the emergency declaration about a mysterious virus, the next morning, the couple's neighbor, a young girl, enters their bedroom. Seeing blood on her face, Louis asks Anna to call an ambulance, but Vivian bites him on the neck. After pushing her away, Anna realizes the child has turned into a bloodthirsty zombie. In an effort to protect themselves, she slams the bedroom door and tends to her husband's wound to stop the bleeding. While trying to call for help, Louis dies, but suddenly reanimates and attacks her. Fleeing, Anna grabs the car keys and locks herself in the bathroom. Unable to open the window, she decides to check if her husband has calmed down. At that moment, Louis breaks through the door to reach her and bite her. Seeing her beloved turn into a monster, Anna escapes the house. Outside, Anna sees houses burning and people in panic. She asks a neighbor what's happening, but he threatens her with a weapon. Zombie husband finding his way outside, Anna jumps in the car and tries to flee the most dangerous area. She can't believe what's happening and stops to watch the news, where zombies are killing everyone. At that moment, an unknown man tries to steal her car, but Anna manages to push him away. As she tries to escape, she swerves off the road and crashes into a tree, losing consciousness. Soon, Anna regains consciousness and climbs out of the car, only to find a police officer pointing a shotgun at her. Kenneth asks her to speak to make sure she's a normal person and not a monster. After confirming she's not infected, the officers suggest they team up, as their chances of survival would be much higher together. Michael, Andre, and his pregnant wife, Ludmila. Kenneth proposes they head to Fort Pastor, where the military can offer help and protection. The three survivors disagree, thinking it's a risky move, as the route to the military base is crawling with creatures that could kill them. Less than an hour ago, their group had 8 people, but only 3 made it here, making returning too dangerous. Taking their advice into account, Kenneth and the others decide to seek shelter in the nearest shopping mall. Inside, the group splits up to check and secure all the entrances and exits. Michael heads to a sporting goods store and finds a wooden mallet. Moments later, he opens a door and is attacked by a zombie. In the struggle, he manages to defeat the creature by stabbing it in the head with the mallet's handle. Andre also encounters a zombie, but it's not a threat since it's on the other side of a sturdy glass window. Anna, Luda, and Kenneth are attacked as well, but they work together to immobilize the zombie guard, leaving it in a fountain. Reuniting, the group realizes the first floor is too dangerous and decides to head upstairs. At the elevator, they meet 3 security guards, CJ, Terry, and Bart, who demand they hand over their weapons. The guards allow them to stay temporarily in the mall or leave if they don't agree to the terms. With no other option, the 5 survivors surrender their weapons, knowing going outside is far too risky. Later, they watch the news and learn that there are 2 ways to kill zombies: shoot them in the head or burn them. While away from the group, Andre notices a bite mark on Luda's arm but chooses to keep it a secret to protect her from the others. The news also reveals that Fort Pastor remains one of the most fortified and safest places in the city. Kenneth suggests they go there since his brother is stationed there, but it's too dangerous now. The group doesn't have a clear plan, and CJ believes the best course is to wait, as they have enough resources to survive in the mall. Michael, however, argues that not having a plan is a poor decision, and suggests writing an emergency distress signal on the roof that military helicopters might spot. Agreeing to the plan, CJ proposes a cleanup. The security team heads to the first floor to eliminate the remaining zombies. Soon after, the survivors climb to the roof to leave a SOS message and other calls for help. Kenneth notices that hundreds of zombies surround them all from all sides, making the idea of leaving increasingly dangerous.
Here is your first question, friends. I'm tall when I'm young, and I'm short when I'm old. What am I?
He theorizes that the zombies' behavior might be instinctual or based on muscle memory, as they were once humans who frequently visited this building. Just then, the group hears gunshots and spots Andy, the gun shop owner, barricaded on the roof of a nearby building. He points to an approaching military helicopter, and the group tries to signal him, but their efforts are in vain. In the evening, the 3 security guards lock the others inside a department store for their safety. They use forceful methods of communication with the unarmed survivors, considering themselves the leaders of the mall. Next morning, Andre and Kenneth discuss the events, trying to understand the causes of the zombie outbreak. The police officer believes it's a punishment for sins, but the expectant father disagrees. He's convinced that the unborn child is innocent and doesn't deserve this fate, so he will do everything to protect it. Soon, Terry notices a truck approaching the mall on the outdoor surveillance cameras. Climbing onto the roof, the guards see that the truck is carrying survivors, who are still fighting off the zombies chasing them. The group suggests letting them into the building, but CJ strongly opposes the idea. He believes it's too risky, and that if any of the new survivors are infected, it could lead to disaster. Kenneth and the others ignore his concerns and stage a small coup. Kenneth and Terry disarm CJ and Bart, taking control of the situation and deciding to help the people in the truck. A few minutes later, Anna and Luda climb onto the roof to signal the driver and ask him to park closer to the entrance. Once this happens, Andre and Michael head outside to kill the approaching zombies and help the group enter the building safely. Through their combined efforts, they manage to accomplish the dangerous task and save 8 people. After settling the new survivors in the mall, Kenneth declares that he wants to use the truck to get to Fort Pastor in search of his brother. Steve and the others inform him that the disease control centers have been overrun by the dead. They tried to reach several, but there's no help to be found anymore, and the military and protection are gone. Realizing his brother is likely dead, Kenneth becomes despondent and heads to the roof. Spotting Andy, he begins communicating with him using cardboard signs. Even though Andy is alone, he keeps his sense of humor, which encourages the police officer. Anna attempts to assist the wounded, as she's a nurse, and saving lives is her calling. The woman, whose name no one knows, is in the worst condition. Despite Anna's best efforts, the woman dies. Moments later, she reanimates as a zombie and attacks the others. Knowing that the head is the most vulnerable part of a zombie, Anna defends herself and kills the woman with a long staff. In the process, the nurse realizes that the mysterious infection is transmitted through bites. Michael informs the group that Nicole's father, Frank, has been infected since his wrists are bitten. Eventually, Frank will turn into a monster and pose a threat, so Michael suggests they take action preemptively and kill him. This difficult decision sparks debates among the survivors, as not everyone is ready to execute someone simply because they've been bitten, especially since Anna's suspicions have not yet been experimentally confirmed. Upon learning of Michael's plan, Nicole pleads for her father's life. She has already lost her mother and brothers. Kenneth takes full responsibility and decides to keep watch over Frank. Securing himself and Frank in a pavilion, Kenneth waits until the decisive hour, only killing Frank after he dies and turns into a zombie. Meanwhile, Andre realizes that Luda is infected, but chooses to keep this information from the others, as his wife is pregnant and due to give birth soon. To protect her from the impending execution, Andre isolates his family in a children's store. The next few days pass quietly. Kenneth and Andy bond over chess, becoming best friends. Steve and Monica have an intimate relationship. Michael and Anna watch movies, and Terry supports Nicole during this tough time, sparking a romantic connection between them. The men enjoy spending time on the roof, where they can talk with Andy and engage in more adult activities. They observe the zombie crowd, selecting a potential victim, and the shooter picks them off one by one. Anna is the only one who disapproves of this behavior, seeing it as cruelty. In the evening, the survivors gather for dinner, with only Luda and Andre absent, still hiding in the children's store. At one point, power goes out due to a malfunctioning generator. Realizing the dangers of venturing outside, 4 armed men, Michael, Kenneth, Bart, and CJ, head out to investigate. They decide to act together, as only by covering each other can they survive against the horde of zombies. Upon entering the technical rooms, they find traces of blood and realize they are not alone. They hear noises and footsteps, but it turns out the source is a dog to call Chips.
Here is your second question, friends. I have keys but open no locks. I have space but no room. You can enter but not leave. What am I?
The animal is unharmed, leading the group to believe the area is safe. However, moments later, they realize their mistake when Bart is attacked by a zombie that bites his neck. The group is forced to flee, witnessing Bart's death as he is surrounded by bloodthirsty monsters, closing themselves behind barbed wire. Kenneth, Michael, and CJ realize it won't hold the zombies back. They shoot a few, but their ammo is running low, and they need a more effective way to eliminate the monsters. Using their resourcefulness, Michael douses the zombies in gasoline, and CJ sets them on fire. At the same time, Luda begins to experience contractions, but Andre decides not to tell the others. Fearing his wife may turn into a monster, he ties her up. During the contractions, Luda dies, but the baby is still alive and kicking in her belly. Moments later, Luda turns into an aggressive zombie and attempts to bite Andre. Using a gag for protection, Andre decides to deliver the baby himself, willing to do anything for his child. At this moment, an elderly woman comes by, thinking they might need help. Seeing that Luda is infected, Norma shoots her, and Andre returns fire. The woman is wounded, but manages to shoot Andre before dying, resulting in all of them perishing. The other survivors hear the gunshots and rush to the scene, ultimately confirming that the transformation into a zombie only occurs after a bite. They discover that the newborn is a zombie, and the group is forced to execute it. As they say goodbye to those who didn't make it through the night, the group realizes that the mall is no longer a safe place. They're ready to come up with a plan to leave the building, but no one has a solid idea. Then Steve suggests a crazy plan to head to the port and use a yacht to search for a safe island free from monsters. Steve thinks his idea is a ridiculous joke, but the others take it seriously. They realize that an uninhabited island could be a place to wait out the peak of the epidemic, after which they could return to the city or find other survivors. Make the plan work. The group decides to reach the port by using 2 buses hidden in the mall's underground parking lot. The zombies will attack from all sides, so the survivors modify the buses, turning them into post-apocalyptic vehicles that can not only protect them, but also battle hordes of monsters. They barely have any weapons or ammo, but Andy, who's nearby, is willing to supply them with some. Kenneth is convinced that a guy like Andy is essential to their team, as he's a good shot and has become a trusted friend. The preparation of the vehicles and the whole plan will take a few more days, but Andy is in terrible condition. He's starving and could die before they find a way to save him. Kenneth comes up with the idea of sending chips with food and a radio to Andy. He believes the mission is safe since the infected don't care about dogs. Nicole disagrees, as she's grown attached to the dog, but no one asks her opinion. After letting the dog out, the group watches his movements closely. Following the sound of a whistle, Chips reaches the store and runs through a vent, but zombies try to crawl in after him. Gunfire and chaos ensue, and during the mayhem, Andy makes contact and says the zombies attacked him. He managed to get the food and fend off the attack, but he was bitten. The group understands that Andy is doomed, as the bite will eventually turn him into a monster. Nicole, who has lost her entire family, has become very attached to Chips, so she decides to do whatever it takes to save him. Acting impulsively and not telling the others, she gets behind the wheel of a truck and heads to the weapons store to find Andy. After struggling through the vent, Nicole finds the dog and contacts the others on the radio. Kenneth urges her to hide quickly, as he can see that Andy has turned into a zombie and is no longer thinking rationally. Attacked by zombies, Nicole escapes from the infected Andy and locks herself in a cupboard. She begs her friends to come, help and rescue her, but not everyone thinks it's a good idea. Steve opposes the dangerous mission.
Here is your third question, friends. What comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years?
But the others decide to show compassion and do whatever it takes to save the desperate Nicole. In the middle of the night, the group organizes a mission to rescue Nicole. Steve is the only one who refuses to go, promising to open the door once the others return. Decide to infiltrate the weapons store through the sewers to avoid running into monsters. Once they surface, they do encounter zombies but manage to fend them off and make their way into a nearby building through a vent. Following the sounds, the group finds the infected Andy and kills him before freeing Nicole. After grabbing weapons and ammunition, the group starts heading back, but zombies continue to surround them. Tucker is the last to descend into the sewers. In the process, he breaks his leg and leaves the hatch open. Monsters jump down after him, trying to chase the survivors. CJ kills several zombies to help his friend and hands Tucker 2 pistols. The guard drags, trying to keep him safe while Tucker shoots at the zombies following them. Once Tucker runs out of ammo, the zombies attack, biting and tearing him apart. Tucker asks CJ to shoot him, and CJ grants his final wish. The group returns to the locked door, only to find that Steve has gone to the buses and betrayed them. Zombies close in, and they're trapped with no chance of survival. Just as it seems like their last moments have arrived, the door opens, revealing Anna. The group rushes back into the mall, but they're unable to close the door, allowing the zombies to break in and continue their pursuit. Fleeing in panic, they move toward the buses, splitting into 2 groups to leave the building. Outside, they're stopped by thousands of zombies, capable of flipping the vehicles. Trying to clear the way, the survivors use weapons, chainsaws, and anything they can find. CJ handles the task best, tossing a gas canister into the zombie crowd and shooting it, triggering a massive explosion. On the way, Kenneth notices one zombie still clinging to the bus, continuing to pose a threat. The elderly Glenn tries to use the chainsaw for protection, but ends up accidentally killing himself and Monica. During the dangerous maneuvers, Kenneth loses control, and the bus flips over. Steve decides not to help the officer and climbs out, only to be attacked by the same lone zombie. Second group returns to the bus to help Kenneth. Anna executes Steve, who has turned into a zombie, and takes the keys to the yacht from him. Hundreds of monsters begin attacking the survivors, but they manage to get into the bus and escape the chaos. Soon, the group reaches the dock and exits the bus. Noticing that the zombies continue to chase them, CJ decides to buy time for the others and sacrifices himself. Firing at the approaching zombies, he blows up the bus, blocking their path to the dock. As the group prepares to set sail, Michael suddenly announces that he won't be joining them. During Anna's rescue, one of the zombies bit him, and he has decided to stay behind to meet the final sunrise of his life. As the boat pulls away, Michael takes his own life. Only Anna, Nicole, Terry, Kenneth, and the dog Chips survive, and they take him with them. Soon, their supplies of food and water run out. They find other boats, but inside, there are only decapitated zombie heads and worms. Shortly afterward, the engine breaks down, forcing the group to row towards a nearby island they spotted. Once they land, the 4 survivors find themselves trapped, surrounded by hundreds of hungry infected. The main characters make mistakes that, under normal circumstances, could have been avoided. At what point does panic take over, pushing rational thinking aside? How could emotional decisions that lead to death have been prevented? What would you do if you found yourself in a similar situation? Share your thoughts in the comments down below.
Thanks for watching my video, friends. Please subscribe to me and like me, please. I will come soon with another video. See you soon. Bye-bye.